This is part of a broader problem here. People have to be watching this and saying, these people are completely out of touch with our priorities. They've abandoned all common sense. The list of things that prove this are extraordinary. One of the things I see a lot in South Florida are people that have been in this country, that maybe came from Cuba 45 years ago. They've worked here their entire lives. They retire. They get $800, $900, $1,000 a month from Social Security. And then they run into somebody who just got here from Cuba 3 months ago, is 29 years old, doesn't work, and is given $1,500 a month in benefits by our government because they're refugees. That refugee, a year later, is traveling back to Cuba 15 times. So you're a refugee fleeing oppression from a place that you now go back and visit 15 times the following year. And in the meantime, we're giving you Medicaid, food stamps, health care for your children, cash payments from the refugee fund. So imagine if you've been working here for 40 years and your Social Security check is smaller than the benefits going to a 28-year-old able-bodied person who just got here. That's real. That happens. That's happening every day. That makes no sense. How about this one? Biden has issued a visa ban and sanctions against Israeli settlers. Where's the visa ban and sanctions on Hamas supporters who are here on student visas? We would never have given them the visa if they were Hamas supporters, but now that they're here, they can go up and down the street calling for intifada, saying anti-Semitic stuff, tearing down posters. We haven't taken away a single student visa or any other visitor visa. Go after the Israeli settlers, but not after the Hamas terrorists and Hamas terrorism supporters in our own country? That's happening. When the horrible events of January 6th happened, within hours, we had fences, the tallest fences you've ever seen, barbed wire, National Guard from multiple states. We had more National Guards people here than we had members of Congress, 5 to 1. Great people, sleeping in the kitchen, sleeping in the dining room. This place was protected. When a state decides we're going to build a fence and deploy the National Guard to protect our state and our sovereignty, let's go to the Supreme Court and force them to tear it down. So you'll build a fence and flood this place with National Guard to protect yourself in this capital, but you won't do it to protect our country. That makes no sense to people. That makes no sense. How about this? You know the leverage that Russia, you know why Russia, one of the reasons why they invaded Ukraine? Because they believed that Europe was so dependent on them for natural gas, they wouldn't do anything about it. And so Europe is doing something about it. And the U.S. says, and we will export our natural gas surpluses to you, so you don't have to depend on the Russians. And what does this administration do? They suspend LNG exports a couple weeks ago because a handful of TikTok influencers demanded it because of the climate. That makes no sense. But they did it. On issue after issue, we either have lost all common sense or we are consistently ignoring the needs of everyday hardworking Americans and putting something or someone above them over and over and over again. And that's why people lose faith in institutions. That's why they lose faith in leaders. That's why they lose faith in our process. That's what leads to populism. In the history of the world, you look at it over and over again. When people believe that their needs, their legitimate needs, are being ignored by the people who run the government, in the modern history, they have gone in one of two directions, and they are both toxic. One is socialism, the promise of the victim against the oppressor, and government's going to fix it all by controlling the economy and your lives. And the other direction they go is ethnic nationalism. The argument that all this is happening because somebody of another race, another color, another religion, they're to blame. One of your fellow countrymen are to blame. That's the danger in all of this. And that's why it's always so important that in a republic is capable of understanding and responding to the needs of people. And in our country, it's a people that for the better part of 25 or 30 years we're told, it doesn't matter that we're going to send our factories and our jobs halfway around the world to another country. Don't worry, you're going to learn how to code. I mean, you're going to find a new job making a lot more money. Well, they never got to learn how to code, and they never found the better job, and they gutted our cities and communities and took them apart. They're tired of being put in second place. And it's happened too often. And it's happening here again now. And that's why I'm not going to support this bill. Because it violates our most important responsibility, and that is to give voice to the people of this country and stop putting them in second place behind everything and everyone else. I yield the floor.